And that bill will end up running us somewhere around $3 trillion by the time we take care of the last veteran. That's not being a deficit hawk. These guys voted for huge tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country. That's not being a deficit hawk. These are the guys who voted to deregulate Wall Street so that the crooks there can engage in all kinds of phony transactions, which resulted in the collapse of Wall Street and the recession and the significant decline of revenue. That's not being a deficit hawk. Voting not to have Medicare negotiate drug prices with the pharmaceutical industry and Medicare Part D is not being a deficit hawk. So I think, Tom, it's very important that we not give these guys the mantle of being deficit hawks. They're the ones, to a significant degree, who has caused the deficit problem. And now what they want to do, having caused the problem, is cut every single program for the elderly, the children, the middle class, the sick. And we got to stand up to them and not give them the mantle of being deficit hawks. So that's an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, just a point of fact, after the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, we saw a 1,500% increase in our national debt. He got us out of that by putting into place an income tax and by growing us out of it. After World War II, we were at 127% of GDP in debt. We grew our way out of it by Truman and Eisenhower building highways and roads and schools and putting young men mostly men, young returning vets from World War II, sending them to college for free. We grew our way out of it.
Absolutely. And the issue is that right now, when real unemployment is closer to 15% than it is to 8.2%, counting those who have given up looking for work and people who are working part-time, we need a massive jobs bill to put our people back to work. I am especially worried about our young workers, people who have graduated high school, finding it very, very hard to get a job. People who graduated college, often in debt, finding it very, very hard to get a job. We need a massive jobs bill, and I think we can do that by rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and by transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. Now, in that regard, there is a modest bill. There is a modest 2-year transportation bill that ironically was worked out between Barbara Boxer, one of the more progressive members of the Senate, and Jim Inhofe, the ranking member of the committee, one of the more right-wing members. But Inhofe understands the need for infrastructure. Now, that bill does not go anywhere near as far as we must go, but it is a start. And it would put a substantial number of people back to work, rebuilding roads, bridges, serious problem with bridges all over this country, paying attention to rail, and so forth and so on. Now, we will see if our right-wing Republican friends will allow us to pass something significant. What they did in the House is a total disaster, but we are working on at least a modest transportation bill to rebuild our infrastructure, to put people back to work. Another issue that I know the listeners are interested in is the issue of the payroll tax. Literally, I just came from voting on that a few minutes ago, and I don't even know the final result on that. We'll know it in a minute. I suspect it will pass. I voted no. And I voted no not because I don't understand that the middle class needs a tax break. We absolutely need a tax break to help the hard-pressed middle class so they can get that money, go out and spend it, and create some jobs. It's significant. But I thought it important to continue raising the issue of the danger of diverting, in total, hundreds of billions of dollars from the Social Security Trust Fund. So when you lower the payroll tax from 6.2 to 4.2, all you are doing at the moment is diverting huge amounts of money into the Social Security Trust Fund. Now, what the president says is that not to worry because the General Treasury is going to repay that money. And I hope he is right. Furthermore, what the White House is saying is this is the last time that they will do that. And I hope that they are right on that as well. But I worry you do that 2 years in a row, that the next time this issue comes up, you'll have a lot of folks, whether Republicans or Democrats, saying if you don't vote to continue this, you're talking about a quote-unquote tax increase for the middle class. And you keep diverting huge sums of money away from the Social Security Trust Fund, which is something that the right wing, in fact, likes because it just undermines the future of Social Security. So Middle class needs a tax break. We certainly need to extend unemployment benefits to long-term unemployed. We need to deal with this so-called doctor's fix for doctors' reimbursement rates for Medicare. But I voted no because I think it's important that we have to keep raising the issue. Social Security is of enormous consequence. We've got to strengthen it, not weaken it. Social Security hasn't contributed a nickel to the deficit. It has $2.5 trillion in its trust fund, can pay out benefits for the next 25 years. We've got to keep it strong. I continue to work on another issue that I know many of our listeners are interested in. We've gotten remarkable response on our website, sanders.senate.gov, when we ask people how they feel about the Postal Service. And we've got just very strong response from people who support the Postal Service, do not want to see it dismembered. As I think I've mentioned before, the Postmaster General had come up with a very draconian proposal of shutting down 3,700 rural post offices, cutting half of the processing plants in this country, slowing down mail delivery, ending Saturday mail, laying off a substantial number of postal workers over a period of time, over 200,000. Many of them are veterans. We have been working very, very hard on this issue, working both with the committee, and I have to say Majority Leader Reid has come into the picture here, is playing a good role in trying to protect the Postal Service, working with the Postmaster General, Donahoe, trying to get some movement there. And I think we may be making some progress here. The bottom line is we think for a bunch of reasons, not the least of which the Postal Service has been asked to come up with $5.5 billion for future retiree health benefits in a way that no other institution in this country has been forced to do. It is strong financially. They don't need to put more money into it. There are other ways that we can save money and keep the Postal Service strong. And that we're working hard on that issue. Last issue, there have been just some incredible attacks against women and the right of women to receive contraceptive service through their insurance programs. You're seeing a right-wing male chauvinism that really surprised me, that takes us back to where we were 30 or 40 years ago. And all of us have got to protect a woman's right, not only to choose, but to make sure that she gets the contraceptive that she needs.
Well said. We'll be right back.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Senator Bernie Sanders on the line with us. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour, our national town hall meeting. Bernie will be taking your calls right after this. Paul, I'm trying to dial you up right now. And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and Senator Bernie Sanders on the line. And I'm having a little hard time reading the type here. It almost looks like it says Sarah, watching on Free Speech TV, but I just put you on the air. What's your name?
Susan.
Susan. I'm sorry. I could see the S and 5 letters. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Thank you. And first I want to express my extreme gratitude that I'm sure we all feel for the extraordinary time and effort that Senator Sanders puts out on our behalf. My question has to do with the collection of student loan debt. And I think my daughter's situation is probably quite typical, but I don't hear this particular problem mentioned or even spoken about. She had an extremely good job, very good pay. The company she was working for, and her husband's company as well, different company, closed down in 2009, and she went on unemployment, and she's now employed, not making nearly what she was making. But at any rate, what happened is she got behind on her student loan payments. She's actually quite lucky. I think her total indebtedness was about $8,000, which is well below, the average. But she had been paying on it for quite some time. She's in her early 30s.
Susan, is there a question for the senator
here? The question is, yes, and when you get behind in your student loan payments, they accelerate your debt. So what they do then, of course, is they confiscate whatever tax refunds that you get, the ones based on your earnings. But they're also confiscating your earned income credit, your additional child
Susan,
credit.
what's the question for Senator Sanders? We're going to run out of time before you get to your question here.
So the question is, what if anything can we do to allow people to at least keep those social benefits that they so sorely need when they are underemployed past then.
Okay,
So
Bernie?
Susan has raised a very, very important issue. She's put her finger on something that impacts not just her daughter, but I think a very significant number of young people. Problem, students leave school deeply in debt. Our daughter at 8,000 is, in fact, well below the national average, which is about 25,000. Unemployment is high among young people, and they have a lot of trouble. The idea that when young people are in financial difficulty, cannot repay their student loans, that you're going to punish them even more, as Susan has indicated, is absolutely wrong. And this is an issue I think the president has begun to speak about, but we got to go further. I worry very much, as I said earlier, about the severe economic problems facing our young people. Young people graduating college, not having decent paying jobs. So Susan is right. It is an issue. Bottom line is that they should not be punished doubly by going into what other federal programs they may be receiving in order to survive. So Susan is right, and that is an issue that some of us are working on.
Excuse me. Okay, that's great. And Bernie, we have about a minute here, a little less than a minute, not enough to get a call in before this next break. Where do you see this going?
Well, where I see it going, I mean, this is a basic issue. The issue here is whether or not we give tax breaks to billionaires, whether or not we allow for huge corporate loopholes, whether or not we spend more than we should on the military, or whether we say to the young people in this country, we know that many of you are facing financial difficulties. We can't get blood from a stone, and we've got to alter these practices, which are punishing you double. You got
So well said.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Senator Sanders.
The Thom Hartmann Program is brought to you in part by Solar World. SolarWorld.com for information on solar electricity.
Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, broadcasting from Chicago today from WCPT. And it's our Brunch with Bernie hour. Senator Bernie Sanders on the line with us. Check out his website at sanders.senate.gov. And Daniel in Austin, Texas. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Thank you, Tom. It's an honor to speak with you, Senator Sanders. I wanted to know if you would support or introduce legislation for a 1% tax on Wall Street derivatives. Currently, there's an estimated roughly $700 trillion in these toxic derivatives and about $3.7 quadrillion in annual turnover. And I think one of the ways we can battle against this austerity demagoguery is to close the corporate loopholes, as you're fighting for, to repeal the Bush tax cuts for the wealthiest 1%. But I wonder if you could be a leader in the Senate on pushing a tax on these Wall Street derivatives, a Wall Street sales tax, because when I go to the grocery, I'm forced to pay 8% on groceries, but Wall Street is turning these things over, especially with high-frequency trading as well, and not paying a sales tax.
All right, Daniel raises a very important issue, and I absolutely agree with you, Daniel. We have supported it. We do support it. I think we have introduced legislation to that effect. Not a radical idea. It exists in other countries. It has existed in America. And the benefit, what I call a transaction fee, whatever the number may be, 1%, 0.5%, or whatever it is, A, it will raise a significant sum of revenue, and second of all, it will have a dampening impact on speculation, which is certainly something that we want to do. I believe Senator Harkin of Iowa is going to be introducing legislation to that effect, and I certainly will work with him. But when we talk about progressive ways to raise revenue, I think that is one of the most progressive ways, and yes, that is certainly something that we will move forward on, either working with other people or doing it ourselves.
Okay, we have a call from Lakewood, Louisiana. I'm sorry, I can't quite read your name. My call screen software is a little fuzzy here remotely. Your name is? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, you're on the air with Senator Sanders.
I'm actually in California.
I'm
California.
sorry. See
That's okay, not a problem. Anyways, the middle class tax cut bill had Keystone XL pipeline attached to it. And now this transportation bill that is supposed to be funded by offshore oil leases and opening wilderness to drilling and fracking. Is that correct? And if so, how do we get rid of poison pills with these bills because our job's really worth it.
Okay. And your name was?
Brenda.
Well, what Brenda is, I mentioned earlier the need for a strong transportation bill to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and to put people back to work. I think the bill that's going to pass that is being debated now, it came out of committee in the Senate, while much too modest, not enough money going into it, is a reasonable bill that I can support. The House bill is very, very different, as Brenda indicates. In the way they raise revenue in bad ways, reactionary ways, and it includes the Keystone XL project. So the hope is that what we will end up with is the Senate bill, not the House bill. Let me say a word about Keystone XL. A lot of reasons to be opposed to that. I think a lot of the discussion about jobs has been over-exaggerated in terms of the number of jobs that we'll create. But here is the point. As a nation, we are going to have to make a decision. I was on the floor of the House with a number of senators just the other day talking about this issue. Is global warming real and a threat to our planet? The evidence is overwhelming that it is. Virtually the entire scientific community believes that is the case, and countries all over the world and their leading scientists agree as well. If we are serious about dealing and reversing global warming, which is already having enormous impact on our planet, which will only get worse, we are going to have to end the addiction to oil, especially oil that is particularly filthy, that will, in terms of Keystone, emit far more greenhouse gas emissions than normal oil. So the goal right now is to transform our energy system away from oil, away from coal, away from fossil fuel, to energy efficiency and to sustainable energy. That should be the future of America. If we do that, we can create a whole lot of jobs, we slow down pollution, and we begin the process of leading the world in reversing global warming. And that is, in my view, the direction we've got to go.
Okay. Jim in Kelso, Washington. You're on the air with Senator Bernie Sanders, Jim.
Yeah, good morning, Senator. My name's Jim, and I'd like to know about Darrell Issa. I keep hearing he's a convicted felon and everything. How can he be a member of Congress and be a convicted felon? Is there no laws regarding that?
I am not aware that he is a convicted felon. I don't know that that is the case. What I do know, and I don't know him personally, and I don't know much about him other than what I read, I think he's simply I know that he's very, very wealthy. I think one of the wealthiest people in the Congress. Mm-hmm. And I do know that he is a right-wing extremist, and that whatever passes or comes out of his committee is usually anti-worker, anti-middle class, and protecting the wealthy and corporate interests. So we will deal with that as best we can.
Okay. Michael in Dublin, Virginia, you're on the air with Senator Sanders. We have a minute to the break.
Okay, Senator Sanders, first of all, I'd like to thank you. You're such a true patriot, and it should be more like you, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. I'd like to ask you this question. Can we get other senators like yourself on board and convince them to stop accepting corporate lobbyist money to sell out our Constitution, hijack our democracy, and bringing America down? And I think this is their plan. Can we stop it, sir?
Michael, you have asked the $64 question. That is a question of huge, huge consequence. What you have right now in Congress, in the House and the Senate, are institutions that are very, very significantly dominated by wealthy and powerful corporate interests. Tom, we'll continue this discussion after the break.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's a big one. And Bernie has I don't want to trump your answer, but I do want to plug it here going into the break, a constitutional amendment to address this issue over at sanders.senate.gov. He'll tell you all the details about it when we come back in just a moment. Thom Hartmann here with you. Brunch with Bernie. Senator Bernie Sanders on the line with us.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
It's our national town hall meeting, Brunch with Bernie, and check out Bernie's website at sanders.senate.gov. Welcome back to our Brunch with Bernie hour. Senator Bernie Sanders taking your calls at 866-987-THOM on pretty much any of the topics of the day. Bernie, our last caller set up the question, why is it that our politicians seem to be in the bag for big corporations and billionaires?
Okay, well,
it's all yours.
Michael, who called, raised the most profound and important political question of the moment, and that is the degree to which the political process in America today is controlled by big money interests and large corporations. And as bad as the situation has been for a very long time, it has been made significantly worse, Michael, by the disastrous 5-4 Citizens United decision, Supreme Court decision, that said corporations are people, they have First Amendment rights, and they can spend as much money as they want on political advertising. And we're seeing the impact of that right now, not only in the Republican presidential primaries, but in Senate races around the country. In Ohio, for example, my understanding is these super PACs are already putting some $3 million in television ads to try to defeat Senator Sherrod Brown, and we're seeing that all over the country, and we are going to see more of it. Bottom line here is that we are moving to a situation where a handful of billionaires are now able to spend huge amounts of money through folks like Karl Rove or the Koch brothers to influence the political process. This is not what American democracy is supposed to be about. I've got a constitutional amendment in now to overturn Citizens United. There are other good constitutional amendments that have been offered. There's legislation that we hope to bring to the floor of the Senate to diminish the impact of Citizens United. But if anyone is concerned about the economy, the rights of working families and the middle class, health care, the environment, whatever, you have got to be concerned about this issue. Because right now we're moving rapidly to an oligarchic form of politics where a handful of billionaires are going to control the political process unless we turn that around.
And Sanders.senate.gov is where you can sign Bernie's proposed constitutional amendment to get this thing fixed. Brett over in Sarasota, Florida, listening to WSLR. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, we're proud to stream you live at WSLR.org. Senator Sanders, thank you for all the work that you do, especially as a postal employee, for trying to save my job. My question is related to I have a withholding problem with my income taxes where I pay about 18% every year. So at the end of the year when I file, they want an additional 10 to 15% for me to pay. Given that the Supreme Court has said that money is free speech and that I'm radically dissatisfied with a lot of the things the government is doing, from illegal foreign wars to bank deregulation, it goes on, am I exercising my right to free speech and protest the government by not paying that additional 12% and filing at the end of the year? And I'll listen to your comments all there.
Well, I guess, Brett, you are exercising your right, but you're breaking the law, and you're going to get into some trouble if you do that. What I think you're raising is a question, really, of national priorities. I don't think everybody can pick and choose about where we pay taxes and where we want it to go or where we don't want it to go. I think you have a pretty chaotic situation. But this is what we can do and must do. And that is to say, if we're going to pay taxes, where is that money going? Where should it be going? That speaks to national priorities and what our progressive vision is for America. Should we be spending money on a weapon system that is no longer necessary, or should we be making sure that our children get child care and the best education that they can get? So I think the issue comes down to, as taxpayers, we have got to engage in a real fight on national priorities and ask the questions why we are the only country in the industrialized world that doesn't guarantee health care to all people through a national health care program, why we have so many young people who can't afford to go to college, why our child care system is a disaster, why our infrastructure is in many ways collapsing, and et cetera, et cetera. So, Brett, I think the fight is to change national priorities to have a fair tax system. And by the way, it looks to me like you're paying a higher percentage of your income in federal taxes than Mitt Romney is, who I suspect has a bit more money than you do.
Well said. Brenda in Green Bay, Wisconsin, watching us on Free Speech TV. Brenda, you're on the air with Senator Bernie Sanders.
Yes. I wanted to ask Bernie Sanders, what does he think of hydrogen fuel cell automobile engines versus the fossil fuel?
Well, Brenda, what I think is that in 20 or 30 years, there is a very good chance that we are not going to be driving cars which have an internal combustion engine and that are using gas. I think that there is, as you know, a significant movement now toward hybrid cars. There is a growing movement toward pure electric cars. We're in an early stage. I think there's going to be a lot more development in that area. But I suspect that what you're going to see in years to come is the electrification of our transportation system away from fossil fuels. Short term, we hope that by the year 2025, you're going to have CAFE standards, i.e., the mileage per gallon that automobile makers must achieve in their cars to be over 50 miles per gallon. And when we do that, we're going to save a very significant, see a very significant reduction in the amount of oil that we use to move our transportation system.
Jim in Los Angeles, you're on the air with Senator Bernie Sanders.
Tom, Senator Sanders, it's a privilege as always. I just wanted to ask you, Senator Sanders, do you ever think we will get one bill, one issue through the Congress? This thing of we get good progressive legislation like stimulus and this sort of thing, and then suddenly we've got the pipeline tacked onto it in order for any Republicans to support it. In my way of thinking, that's totally destructive, and I'd like to see if you could do something about it.
Well, Jim, good question, but here's the answer. What people have to understand is that right now, the U.S. House of Representatives is controlled by the most right-wing leadership. It is the most right-wing Congress in the modern history of America. And on every single piece of legislation that they move, their goal is to protect the interest of corporate America and the wealthiest people in this country and to undo, in virtually every instance, those pieces of legislation that have been passed since the mid-1930s that protect the elderly, i.e. Social Security and Medicare, protect the sick, Medicaid, and other public health programs, to cut back on programs for low-income people. We have the highest rate, more people living in poverty today than at any time in our history. We are in a terrible recession. People falling out of the middle class, and they want to cut back on programs for low-income people. They are vehemently anti-union. So what I would say to you, Jim, you have to be conscious that every piece of legislation that they will pass will be anti-middle class, anti-worker, increasingly anti-woman, anti-environment. And what we have got to do in the Senate is fight back and say thanks, but no thanks. And the American people have got to join in and say no. We are not going to retreat to where we were in the 1920s when a handful of very wealthy people controlled the economics and politics of this country.
Rob in Zelienopol, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, Pennsylvania. Rob?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Sanders if he would put a bill in front of the House or Senate about a two-tier wage system, that when you get out of school, you have to make a living wage instead of a minimum wage that they're paying now.
Well, Rob, I won't do that because I think the issue is more complicated than that. But Rob raises a very, very important issue, Tom. When we talk about the economy, often what we talk about is the serious problem of unemployment. That is a huge problem. It is especially, as we've heard this afternoon, an especially acute problem for younger workers. But it is not just unemployment. You got a lot of people who are holding jobs today, including young people, where these wages are not high enough to allow them, if they're young, to pay back their college loans, to get decent housing. You got more and more young people living with their parents, can't go out on their own. And in terms of the middle class, what we're seeing, a very dangerous phenomenon, in that we're seeing the beginning of more manufacturing jobs, but those new manufacturing jobs are paying significantly less than the old manufacturing jobs, sometimes to the tune of 10, 20, 30% less. So the fight right now is not only to have a full employment economy, to not accept these arguments about austerity, that we got to lower wages, that we got to increase unemployment. We got to reject that completely. The fight has got to be for a full employment economy, and we know how to do that, while at the same time to make sure that the jobs that are being created, not just for young people, but for all workers. You got a lot of older workers who have lost their jobs. Their new jobs pay substantially less. Decent, livable wages, full employment should be our goal.
Senator Bernie Sanders with us. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour here on the Thom Hartmann Program, our national town hall meeting. Bernie taking your calls. We'll be back with more of your calls for Bernie right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit ThomHartmann.com for audio and video archives.
Check out Bernie's website. You can subscribe to his newsletter as well, the Bernie Buzz, over at sanders.senate.gov. Highly recommended newsletter. Here with you, and it's our Brunch with Bernie hours. Debbie in San Jose, California, watching us on Free Speech TV. You're on the air with Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. This is in reference to the U.S. Postal Service being cut. I always get suspicious when part of the commons gets cut, considering the way Washington is working for big business. And I was wondering if UPS and Federal Express were lobbying for this in Washington.
That's a good question, Debbie, and I don't know the answer. The truth is that, ironically, people don't know this, Postal Service works with Federal Express and UPS in being the entity that delivers the product to the last mile, in many cases. So the collapse of the U.S. Postal Service would not be necessarily a good thing for FedEx and UPS in every instance. On the other hand, I know that there are members of the U.S. Congress who essentially want to privatize the Postal Service and want to see more business go to the private companies. One of the issues that we are trying to push the Postal Service into is to advertise their very good products. The fact that in some respects, at least, their costs, their prices are significantly less than FedEx and the other private carriers, and to develop a more entrepreneurial attitude. There are a lot of things that the Post Office can be doing right now, and it's not only notarizing letters and providing copies and doing packaging that they're not able to do right now. It's doing hunting licenses and fishing licenses. It's doing certain aspects of banking. In rural America right now, if you get a government check, it's very hard. You got to go to 20 miles away to cash it. Why can't a post office be cashing that check? There are a lot of things that are going on in terms of email, where the Postal Service can play a role and make a significant profit. So what we are trying to do, Debbie, is to change the business model of the Postal Service, keep our rural post offices, keep the kind of delivery system we have right now in terms of mail delivery, and help them expand their revenue base by offering new services.
Okay. Brent in Kirkland, Washington, a follow-up post office question. We have a minute to the break, Brent.
Yeah. Hi, Bernie. Hi, Tom. I had a question. Why does the post office have to be profitable? Why do they have to be solvent? Why not the military having to have a return on investment or something like that?
Oh, that's a good question, Brent. As you know, way back when, I think it was the 1970s, the Postal Service underwent a major change. It no longer became a government agency supported by the government. It became self-sufficient. So all of the revenue that is coming in has to be generated by the post office itself, not by the government. That's what took place in the 1970s. Be that as it may, that is where we are right now. The argument that we are making, and I think more and more people are accepting it, is the Postal Service is not in as bad a financial shape as some have claimed it to be. It has overpaid into retirement funds. It does not have to pay into future health, the retiree system, $5.5 billion a year. And if you use those savings, we can in fact create a self-sufficient postal service without making the draconian cuts that some would have us make.
Senator Bernie Sanders on the line with us. We'll be right back with more of your calls for Bernie. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, broadcasting from Chicago today. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour. Senator Bernie Sanders on the line in Washington, D.C. Omar, Bloomington, Indiana. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, how you doing? I think you're great, and wish all the reps were like you. Would you consider, or would the Washington establishment consider, a bill to just do away with all lobbies and get the corruption out of Washington?
Probably not. I mean, I don't think that's something that would pass because the lobbyists are too powerful unto themselves. The issue is, I think we have a twofold issue, Omar, and that is the impact of corporate lobbyists on the political process and campaign fundraising as well. You add those two factors together that increasingly, especially as a result of Citizens United. I just talked to a friend of mine, running for re-election, as I am, by the way, and I said, well, what'd you do? You working on this? He said, no, I have to be in a room raising money all of the time because Citizens United is going to come after me, and I've got to raise money. What a terrible thing it is. What an insult to the democratic process. You got smart people who want to deal with the pressing problems facing our country, unemployment, infrastructure, health care, etc. We can't do that. They can't do that. They're too busy raising money because Karl Rove and the Koch brothers are going to pour millions of dollars into their state. And the issue of lobbyists is, I think what we at least can do for the moment is make sure that there is a firm wall between those people who have served government in whatever capacity so that when they leave, they don't go running to some large corporation and use the contacts that they previously had in order to push legislation that benefits corporate America. But passing legislation, stopping that, I don't see that in the cards in this Congress.
Carlana in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Yes, back to the postal issue. A very good reason to keep the postal workers in place is that we could have a serious national crisis, such as if we lost our electricity, if we had a pandemic where a lot of people were dying, if there was, somebody had hacked into something and it wasn't working. Anyway, the point being that the postal workers are in place, and they could be considered first responders or second responders to these sort of things, and could keep things working, and could be a source of communication if we lost our phone service and our electricity.
I think that is a very good point. Today and every day, letter carriers will be delivering mail to about 150 million doors all over this country. And to pick up on the caller's point, right now, as I understand it, by law, if, God forbid, there is ever a chemical attack against this country, anthrax or whatever it may be, postal workers now have the responsibility of delivering the antidotes to doors all over this country. So in the event of an emergency, if you need a drug to deal with nerve gas or whatever it may be, right now the Postal Service has the responsibility of getting that drug out throughout America. So I think the caller's point is a very good one. The issue that we're trying to deal with right now as we look at how we can raise more revenue for the Postal Service is what other services can the Postal Service provide, whether it's post offices or letter carriers. And in Europe and other parts of the world, they have been much more imaginative in moving the Postal Service away from strictly just letters and packages into other areas. But the caller makes a very, very important point.
Christina in Albuquerque, New Mexico, listening on AM 1350. You're on the air with Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. Senator Sanders, I appreciate what you do for all Americans, not just your state. With respect to Representative Issa's recent hearing, supposedly on religious freedom, but I believe actually an attack on contraception in women, were there any Democrats involved in this hearing? And if so, why didn't they show their disdain by walking out? In this day and age, not allowing women to testify in a congressional hearing is outrageous. Thank you.
To the best of my knowledge, there were no women on the morning panel of witnesses. And in fact, the Democratic women members of the House committee did walk out of that hearing. So to answer your question, I guess that's exactly what the women did in protest. I know that today on the Senate floor, Senator Patty Murray and Senator Gillibrand of New York got to the floor and made the point. What an outrage. What an outrage that we are in the year 2012. You have a panel of all men talking about contraception for women. I mean, that is beyond comprehension. So to answer the caller's question, my understanding is that the women members of the committee did, in fact, walk out.
John in Topanga, California. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, Tom and Bernie. I've got a question with regard to the Social Security payroll tax reduction. There's a really insidious part of that nobody is talking about, which is that everyone's future Social Security benefits are based on how much they and their various employers over their working lifetime pay into the system. And if that amount is cut very significantly, as it is presently about to be done, then everybody's future benefits are going to go way down. And if anybody thinks that once those cuts are made, they'll ever be rescinded, they're nuts, because you can see what happens every time it comes up for expiration. Everybody moans and groans and says, "Oh, you're going to raise everybody's taxes."
Okay, John, we have just 1 minute here to the end of the show, or the end of this hour, so let Bernie respond to your comment.
I agree with you, but it's just not true that nobody is talking about this issue. Last year, I was on the floor for 8.5 hours talking about this issue. An hour ago, I just voted against the extension of the payroll tax holiday precisely for that reason, and a number of other people did as well. So the point is that what John is saying, which is absolutely correct, is if you lower the payroll tax from 6.2 to 4.2 for a year, you're diverting about, I believe the number is $100 billion out of the Social Security Trust Fund. President says not to worry because that money will be repaid by the federal government. I agree with John. I am nervous about that, and that is why I voted against that payroll tax holiday.
Senator Bernie Sanders, check out his website at sanders.senate.gov. Bernie, thanks so much for being with us today.
Good to be with you, Tom.
It's always an honor to host you on this program every Friday.